What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now Plus. I'm Alex. In this video, I want to talk about the Star Wars Battlefront 2 petition. Talk about what I think about it, what's happened to Star Wars, if I think this petition is going to work, all of that kind of stuff. This has been requested from Captain Rex. Greatly appreciate it. He's a really, really great guy. Talk to him in the Discord server, which is out there for Podcast Now. He's a really, really awesome guy. He had asked me to do this, and I had seen this being floated around the petition itself. I had seen the petition. I actually signed the petition. I signed it yesterday from when you guys are watching this video. So I am on there, my actual name, so like Alex Casilio, I'm on there. This is something that is good to see at the end of the day. And you know what's funny is we've talked about petitions, or I've talked about petitions before on Podcast Now, on the Pirates of the Caribbean, to get Johnny Depp back. I actually signed that petition as well. So I've been a part of a couple of different petitions. And no, honestly though, it really is good to see. It's always good to see these things come alive, truly, because it shows the community is passionate. And if there's any word that you could use for the Star Wars Battlefront community, it is passionate. Okay, now I've been part of this community since day one. I actually made videos on Battlefront 2 day one. I didn't do anything leading into it. One of my maybe biggest mistakes, obviously the channels have changed so much since then that I would absolutely do that for future games, but I covered this game literally day one, talked about it, talked about the controversy, talked about how I really liked it though. I mean, this game was I thought a really, really solid game upon launch, and obviously it went through a lot of things in the 2.5 years that this game was out. And what happened recently is nothing short of, I think, a disaster. I think that's probably a fair word. I mean, and I never want to throw developers or anybody working on the game under the bus. And truly, I don't even think it's their fault. Again, what's happened is insane. The game had such life. The game seemed to very much have a future in 2020. Now, I actually do enjoy watching a bunch of like Battlefront YouTubers. I watch like the Aussie Jedi. I think he's my favorite one. He's like the British one. I've watched like Battlefront Knight, I think his name is. I've watched a couple of them, but like the Aussie Jedi, I think, is my favorite. And he actually made a video. He's made videos before talking about like, is the game going to survive? Like, is this going to be the last year? All this kind of stuff. And I believe it too, that I thought 2020 was going to be the wrap up year, that we were going to have the conclusion basically to whatever content they were going to give to us, and it would kind of just sail off into the sunset as this really incredible, and I even made a video on that, it was a redemption story. Battlefront 2 is a redemption story because I don't think any game has ever done what Battlefront 2 did. No game has gone from a PR disaster. And again, the game I think was always solid and got better as it went along, and obviously had more content added too, but I think the base game was fine. I don't think it was amazing, but I don't think it was bad. Obviously, the loot crate stuff destroyed it, and I completely opposed that, by the way, too. I hated that just as much as everybody else. So, like, I understand why it got that stigma, and it took them a long time, but they rose out of it, and to where it became just an actual really, really good game. So, again, like, the idea on this game was that it was going to sail off into the sunset, and it would be this really great redemption arc, like you see in movies or television, and then, literally, it was abandoned. The last two heroes you get are BB-8 and BB-9E, who are, I would say, pretty bad. I actually got pretty good as them in various times. Then I stopped playing for a little bit, got back into it, and then I think everybody else got a lot better. And then I really was not very good. So, but the first couple days, first week, I was actually pretty good as those two characters. But after that, nothing. Yes, we got Scarif. They did a couple different things that we got the skins finally for just a couple, villains, a couple, and even heroes, right? It wasn't skins for like every single character. And I don't blame the developers, because it's really EA's call to say, hey, here's the thing. I don't think, to answer my question, will this petition work? No, I do not think this petition is going to work. I truly do. I think that they'll continue to support it in the way of patches, in the way, they are doing like those weekly or whatever challenges. Like, they're going to do stuff like that. But I really don't think signing this petition is going to get EA to say, okay, let's move over back like 50, 100 people back onto this team to like keep making Battlefront whatever number of people that are working on this game. I just don't think it's going to happen. Like, what is happening in DICE makes sense. I just don't know why it wasn't structured a different way. I had always assumed that it was a small-ish team making Battlefront the last couple years, okay? And I thought the rest of the team is making the Battlefield game. Now, I feel like that is actually what happened, and what EA did is say, all right, well, Battlefield, whatever it's going to be called, is coming fall 2021. We all knew that. We've known that for almost a year now that was going to happen. So, again, I don't necessarily understand what the intricacies of the company are, but again, we knew that for a while. So what it sounds like EA did is, all right, most of the team is already working on Battlefield. We have a small team working on Battlefront still. Now we're taking that team, we're moving them over, and they're going to help Battlefield. So we're done with Battlefront. And now I say small team, but like they had a community manager, right? That Ben Walker. They had loads of people working on this game. So I guess define small, right? Maybe it wasn't even necessarily all that small, but say it was 25, 30, 50 people, whatever number we want to use. That was the group left, and then they are now moved to a different game. Again, I don't understand why there isn't more like foresight to see that this was coming. And also, again, it maybe makes sense, but why was it done so abruptly? Because they really gave no indication that this was happening. Nobody even that seemed like they were working on the game, including Ben Walker, none of them really indicated that they knew this was going to happen, right? It was full steam ahead. Everything was going great. We got BB-8, BB-9E, which were like, all right. I mean, I guess you're doing that because of like Rise of Skywalker, and this is the year of Clone Wars. This was the year of Ahsoka. Like, can we get Ahsoka? Can we just at least get additional things going on in the game, right? For this final year. But again, it could have been, even if they didn't want to do it how they did it, which I hope they didn't. They don't want this. Why couldn't you have made 2019 the concluding year and make it very apparent that, okay, at the end of 2019 we're done, like we're gonna sail into the sunset and it's gonna be really, really nice. Instead, they make you believe that it's still happening, and maybe they do that for revenue, maybe because they want people to continue buying, continue supporting their game. Remember, it was right around episode 9, right, that they basically did that new addition to the game that you could rebuy the game and you would get all these new things, right? They gave us that, and then a month and a half later you get BB-8, BB-9E, and then like 2 months later it's done with. So again, like it's actually super weird because it started in terms of a disaster with the loot crate and the just bad communication, all that kind of stuff, and then it ends on a disaster too, because I really do actually think this is a disaster. This shouldn't have been the way the game ended. People are furious, people are upset, and I understand it. Even from like me, I haven't played the game in a while. I haven't played the game since maybe late February, and I have zero, like, I want to play Scarif, but I have zero interest of going back into this game because the game, like, there's different ways of doing it where the community can still kind of keep the game alive, even if the developers move on from it. In fact, you kind of want all your games, don't you? In general, any game that comes out that has a multiplayer element, you ideally want people to continue supporting it even as you're moving on. And how do you do that is you do a very nice transition, again, where you make it apparent that it's going to happen, but you'll still be around, you'll still do patches, you'll still do whatever you want to do to keep it somewhat engaging, and you hope that it's built enough trust with the fan base and the fan base likes enough that they will continue playing it. I don't know how it's going to work for Battlefront because I feel like people are very glued on updates, they're glued on new maps, they're glued on new heroes and villains, which I am. I go back to this game when they do new heroes and villains, okay? That's just generally how I do it. Maybe when they do some of the bigger gameplay changes, which they've done a couple times, right? That is when I jump back in. They basically just admitted in one huge swoop, right? And also did it at the exact same time. They said, hey, we're done, and okay, that's it. Like, today is the last day for Battlefront. Tomorrow, it's dead. And I honestly feel like the community has echoed that. These Battlefront YouTubers, they're destroyed. Nobody's watching. Nobody's watching. They have no content to produce, none of this stuff. And the game, I'd love to see. Now I know you can kind of see that like on computer, right? On Steam, you can tell how many people are playing it. But like on consoles, I would love to have seen the numbers from like the day before they announced it to the day they did announce it, and then like a week afterwards. I want to see how big of a drop there was because I'm sure there was a massive, massive drop. So I'm happy. Again, I really am happy about the petition. Battlefront 2 had so much going for it, and it still does. It still is a good story, but this is just not how you end it. This is just a really, really bad ending, and the middle act was so amazing, and then they dropped the... And again, they could have really done exactly this, but if you just gave us a couple months or a year, if you have to have that kind of foresight, again, as a developer, as a publisher, you know where these studios are going to go. You know when you want certain games to release. You have to plan years in advance, right? So how come they couldn't have done this last year and say, hey, you know, February or March of 2020, we're done. We're going to kind of ease the transition. We're not going to be releasing as much stuff, and we'll be releasing less and less as we get closer. And while that sucks, I mean, that's still a smooth transition that we didn't end up getting. So it definitely sucks. I'm glad the petition exists. I hope it works. I really hope it works. But if you're asking me my prediction, do you think the petition is going to work? I don't think it will. I honestly don't think it will. I think in general, if you need these workers to work on a Battlefield game, I mean, Battlefield games sell, and they make a lot of money, and if you literally need them to work on the game, they're going to work on the game. It's really just a debate of, do you want them to keep supporting a game that's on the decline, and especially now it's on the decline. Like, if you bring them back, and for some reason Battlefront 2 comes back to life, it'll never jump back up to what it was like 3-4 months ago, right? So you're either doing that, or you're using them to make a brand new game that can sell you 10, 15 million copies and make you a lot of money. And again, like, that's just what EA is going to do, right? So let me know in the comments below, though, guys. What do you think? Do you think this petition is going to work? Do you think it's possible? What do you think happened internally over there? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, as always. And also make sure you guys are subscribed to this YouTube channel. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when all these videos go up. And I do a new video on this channel every single day, so you can always expect a new video on the next day. Again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you on tomorrow's video.